Today, we're talking all things Kubrick. Hi, welcome to another classic movie thing. My name's Tim Lee and I do loads of reviews of different vintage stuff really, whether it's retro gaming, classic music or classic movies. So if that's your kind of thing, then please think about liking and subscribing to my channel to see some more. Today I'm going to be looking at the work of a classic, legendary, visionary director, Stanley Kubrick, and a set that I got for my birthday back in October, and which I've been steadily working my way through and thoroughly enjoying. This is a 7-film collection, the Stanley Kubrick Visionary Filmmaker Collection, including Lolita, 2001, A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. Some of these movies I knew really well, some of them I was watching for the first time. So I'm going to be giving you my impressions of each of the films, as well as the extras included in the box set and my overall view of the box set itself. So let's check it out. So if we start off with the packaging itself, it's nice and vibrant, shows all the film protagonists on the front. Perhaps not as exciting as some of the director's box sets that I've seen, such as the Alfred Hitchcock one that I really love. But yeah, it does what it says on the tin. If we look on the back as well, it gives a little synopsis of each film, plus the bonus disc, which includes Stanley Kubrick: A Life in Pictures from 2001. And once we take the sleeve off, you've got the same cover there. Let's open it up. And yeah, again, not overly inspiring the collection, how it's put together here. I'm pretty sure these are all Blu-rays that have been released previously, but it certainly is nice to have them in some sort of a collection like this. It starts with Lolita, then 2001. These are all upside down. Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut, and that bonus disc that includes the documentary from 2001 about Stanley Kubrick. And each of these discs has quite a few different bonus features on them. Most of them seem to come from that kind of era, from about 2001, obviously because of the significance with the film's chronology, but also that was around about the time, I think it was 1999, that Kubrick himself passed away. So obviously it was at the forefront of people's minds. But most of the documentaries on these discs come from around about that time. So just in case you know that, they're not overly modern, although having said that, there are some more modern documentaries on there, and it doesn't impinge your enjoyment. The quality of the extras is still very high and very relevant, so it's definitely worth watching the extras on here. So let's go through what we have here. We have Lolita from the 60s, and yeah, Lolita as a film I found really disturbing, I have to say, really uncomfortable, and not necessarily in a good way like I find some other films of Kubrick's disturbing. I can totally see why Kubrick wanted to go ahead with it. He seems to have a penchant for trying to create films out of seemingly unfilmable materials, and Lolita the book is highly controversial, of course. If you didn't realize, Lolita follows a relationship between a much older man and a teenage girl, and their kind of obsession with each other. and it's beautifully shot. Kubrick does an amazing job bringing the book to life. In fact, some of the more controversial elements of the book are almost toned down a little bit, but you can't get away from the fact that this story just hasn't aged well. And I found it deeply disturbing to watch, even though the acting and the direction are, as you'd imagine, spot on. Then we come to 2001, possibly Kubrick's most iconic film, and one that I must admit took me a long time to get into. I must have watched 2001 a good 3 or 4 times before I actually finished it. It's such a different sort of pace and style to any film that came before or any film that came since. If you're expecting like the kind of sci-fi adventure that's this influence, like Star Wars, then you're going to be deeply disappointed, because it's almost like, to put it in its most pretentious way, it's almost like visual poetry. It really is. It's absolutely astounding, even now, over 50 years later, or 60 years later, is it? Yeah, a long time after anyway. It's still absolutely breathtaking, especially when you imagine that all those shots that he did in space were imagined. Nobody had been to the moon at that point. It was way before the moon landings, and there's shots of the Earth where he had to just imagine what it would look like, and he didn't do too bad either. It still stands up now. It's set in different scenes, as it were, that are all kind of held together with this idea of this monolith that imbibes some kind of a giant leap in humans' civilization. And so we begin at the beginning of mankind's civilization and evolution, and from there we're thrust into the future and space and man's next big step into the unknown, really. There are some absolutely classic scenes which you'll know, such as the malfunctioning and highly characteristic HAL 9000, the computer, and that certainly doesn't disappoint, but that comes fairly late in the film. So there is it seems like a very long film, but if you're in the right kind of mood for stunning, individual, inimitable filmmaking, then you really do need to see 2001. It's essential viewing for any film fan. Moving on from that is the film that Kubrick himself is the only director I can think of who withdrew his own film because there were a lot of copycat crime sprees that went on afterwards of people influenced by the violence of the gangs in this sort of another dystopian future tale from Kubrick. Again, a very very difficult film to bring to life, but he takes the Anthony Burgess's novel and totally runs with it and creates something, again, totally timeless, totally unique, and definitely worth watching. The next film, Barry Lyndon, I really struggled with. I know from reading reviews and things that it's very highly thought of. It's Stanley's period drama, essentially. Very, very long, lavish film. I think for me, the difficulty I had with it, and please don't crucify me in the comments if you're a Barry Lyndon fan, but I just couldn't connect with the characters. So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's beautifully shot. The whole thing is absolutely gorgeous to look at. But yeah, I just couldn't get behind Barry himself as a leading man, and it just detracted from me. It's the only film I really struggled in this box set to watch through. So, but a lot of Kubrick's work divides people, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who absolutely adore that film, and I can understand why. But for me, it's not one that I'd necessarily visit again. Moving on, we have a film that I definitely do visit at least twice a year. One of my all-time favourite films, The Shining. He takes Stephen King's book and again runs with it, makes it into something totally unique, totally mesmerising, fantastic acting from everyone involved, including the young boy on it who is brilliant, Danny. Some of the most innovative shots, the pioneer of Steadicams, which is documented on some of the behind the scenes footage on this disc as well. Definitely worth watching all the making ofs and things on this. There's quite a few, and yeah, it's amazing to see how they made some of those iconic shots. Still very, very impressive today. And then we have the epic war film. Every film that Stanley did, he was almost trying to take on a particular genre and do it in his own way. And as with the horror film, with The Shining is totally unique, so too Full Metal Jacket, his war film, is not like anything else that was around at the time. You think of Platoon, you think of Born on the 4th of July, and all those great war films. Full Metal Jacket is brutal. It's philosophical, it's jarring, it's thought-provoking. It's definitely worth a watch. Then we move on to Eyes Wide Shut, his last film, and so it's a difficult one to really pigeonhole this, as with many of Stanley Kubrick's films. It's an erotic mystery. I didn't enjoy this one quite as much as the others. Found it quite difficult to get into, and there's a lot of mystery which then kind of tails off very quickly at the end. I don't know if this is due to him, his illness, or whether he, there's no kind of discernible conclusion, which can sometimes work. I know that a lot of David Lynch films, for example, and 2001 have very open-ended endings, but it kind of works, whereas this one just I don't know, maybe I have to watch it again. It was the first time I'd seen it, but yeah, it didn't grab me quite as much as some of the others. And finally, the disc of bonus features at the end, which it has the A Life in Pictures documentary from 2001, which is absolutely essential viewing if you're interested in Kubrick's work. It takes you behind the scenes of many of his classic films and tells you a little bit about the enigma that is the man himself. So that is the full box set. Overall feelings, it's great to have very different types of Kubrick films on there. A couple of the films, Lolita and maybe Barry Lyndon, if it was up to me, I'd personally swap them for something like Spartacus or Doctor Strangelove, or one of those sort of films. But great to be able to see them here in this collection. And yeah, this is definitely a must for any film fan to pick up the Stanley Kubrick Visionary Filmmaker collection. Back to me. So there we have it. 7 classic films from a legendary director, and a very good box set it is too. If this is the kind of video that you enjoy watching on YouTube, then please do drop me a comment below and let me know maybe some other directors you'd like me to check out, and also what you thought about those films included on this box set. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.